Cross. Those were the words of the Director of Information, Mr. Chukwuemeka Nebo, in a statement issued on behalf of the Enugu State Government in response to allegations of government involvement in a high-profile certificate forgery scandal rocking the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. In the wake of the serious allegations, the minister tendered his resignation, a development that was confirmed in a public statement by the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga. The minister, however, insists that his resignation does not amount to an admission of guilt. But what does his resignation mean for Enugu politics, especially with the APC, the state's leading opposition voice, weighing in strongly just hours ago? This is Enugu Kwenu. I am Nathalie Oku. Good evening. Enugu Kwenu on Afia TV, and thank you for joining me. Now, I'm going to have two special guests today. And while we await our second guest, we're joined now virtually by Chinagorem Ugu, the now famous Premium Times investigative reporter who followed this story for 2 years. Painstaking 2-year research to uncover the controversy around a purported controversy, much rather, around the ministers or former ministers' academic credentials. Chinagorem, it's so good to have you this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, I did say that it is exciting that the minister, whether he was convinced by associates or he was asked to take the decision by the presidency. The point is that, I feel excited that he took that route, because that was, I expected that something should happen, within a shortest possible time. However, many Nigerians reacting believe that what happened ought to have been a complete outright sack, not giving him more like a soft landing by doing resigning. Resignation appeared to be a soft landing. So he ought to have been sacked by the president, and then investigation opened, and then prosecution. So essentially, beyond the resignation and all of that, he should be prosecuted in line with the laws. Investigation should be opened by security agencies, and when there is a prima facie case established, they should prosecute him, so that that will serve as a deterrent to others who have such intentions to commit such crimes. Thank you.
All right, Chinagorem, great looking out to you once again for that story, and we wish you, more success stories such as that one.
Thanks a lot.
All right, and of course, that was Chinagorem giving us his reaction to the fallout of his story. But I'm not seated here alone. Somewhere in between the network challenges, our special guest was able to make his way into the studio. And that is, of course, I'll introduce him properly this time, give you more background around him. A respected figure who has previously served as Enugu State Commissioner for Information, Special Advisor, and Chief Press Secretary. He is also a writer, editor, and attorney at law. Ozo Igbonekwu Ogazimorah. Ozo, good evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Great. So when I did my intro, I talked about the statement from the Director of Information. He said, carry your cross, go and clear your name, referencing the science minister. And we understand that biblically speaking, the phrase carry your cross originates from Luke 9 verse 23. And it states, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. What do you think the director meant when he told the minister to carry his cross?
Well, thank you. The director was only telling him, you created the mess. You go and clear it. Don't blame anybody. Don't place the blames elsewhere. You carry that cross. You clear the room which you messed up. Or you clear your name which you may have messed up. That was the message the director was trying to pass to him.
Now, we've seen the reaction. We saw the reaction from the spokesperson of the minister. Enugu State Government reacted. UNN reacted. Then everybody turned their attention to the federal government, and lots of question marks followed, asking what the federal government would do. And all of a sudden, just yesterday evening, when everybody was about to go home, we saw a post by presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga saying that the minister had officially resigned his duties. This is what we've seen. We've also seen reactions from the ADC, reactions from Peter Obi, and other civil society organizations. We also heard from the Premium Times reporter who said that he expected that probably the minister will be sacked as opposed to having the leverage to resign. While some pundits also believe that him resigning was probably mandatory because at that level, you will not be told to, you're sacked. They might just give you the option to resign, or then you get the hot end of the stick. You'll be sacked outrightly. So I would like to know your reaction to how things have played out. Your previous reaction on the show was more of a political one. You asked the question, why now? All of a sudden, the minister resigns amid support from loyalists. Your take?
Yeah. Okay. My reaction to this is actually similar to my reaction 2 days ago when I was there on your studio. And I will ask the question, why now? When I ask the question, it's not generic, it is specific. Why now denotes that somebody is sponsoring it. It may be true. He made a statement today that his resignation, saying that his resignation had nothing to do with his being guilty or not, that it wasn't an admission of guilt. That is entirely his business. But then, the reason I asked why now is this. There are so many other cases, and that why now has been answered by this speculation that the road is now cleared for Governor Mba to move into APC. That is to say that he had been an impediment. The minister had been an impediment, had been the reason the road was not cleared. I also told you about what is known in the political circle of the conditions given to the PDP in Enugu State, that they split all offices and responsibilities between the two parties. And perhaps that was too harsh. And now that it has come to this, I would say, well, yes, Tinubu may have weighed the options and understood that aligning with Peter Mba, where you have the possibility of Jonathan returning to PDP and going for the ticket, you have Atiku contending there and in ADC, and you have the earthquake himself, P2P. For you to, it is good you go for a governor, a sitting governor. He has a leverage nobody else has in that state. He has the money. He has the following. Because of the hunger and poverty all over Nigeria, every governor has a good following. Whether that following is genuine or not, people attach or tie their survival to being related to the government. So with that, perhaps the president considered that it would be better to sacrifice
Uche Nnaji.
Uche Nnaji.
You
right?
paint a picture of some kind of sacrificial lamb, right? Because many people have also asked why it was so seamless, so easy for President Tinubu to accept his resignation in such a quick manner, how things escalated so quickly. Some have even gone as far as alleging, claiming, people that seem to be soothsayers and can see into the future, say things like, how are they even sure he saw the president? Maybe he went to Aso Villa and was just said, resign or get sacked.
Well, I wouldn't see it that way. You see, whether he saw him or not, that was immaterial. what was important was that there was a strong credibility question. Uche Nnaji created a strong credibility question around his personality. Because that day, that 2 days ago, I said, why didn't he fire just the school SAT? The law provides for that. The school SAT is okay. Most of these people you see contesting offices is because you have not had access to their rare files.
Speaking about why, could it have been the nature of the ministry? I mean, the Ministry of Science, Innovation, Technology should not be handled by what or whom appears to be a charlatan in any field.
Well, I wouldn't call the guy a charlatan. That is the truth. I don't know his line of business. He may be doing businesses relating to that. I'm not defending him. But I'm trying to tell you that a lot of ministers are placed where they don't have any disciplinary training on. So you cannot say because it was this ministry that he was this. I know when somebody who is a professor of literary studies became Minister of Health. I remember then at Abacha's government. The minister, like the commissioner, is not really about being technically trained for that job. It is leadership, it is administration. That is what it is. It's only something like justice
Right.
that you have to, it must be a lawyer.
But the concern I'm raising here is not speaking about the minister as being a charlatan. I'm speaking generally, relatively. When you know that certain appointees are being tipped to the president or prospective appointees, and you know that all of them have their degree certificates, and you want to show up there with maybe your first school or your post-primary school, it's you don't as a human being feel it's competitive. Now, this is hypothetically speaking.
No.
In that regard, you'll be seen as some kind of charlatan compared to your supposed competitors.
No, Natalie, no. You see, that's what I'm saying. You haven't seen most of the files built for many of these people holding offices. They will tell you they hold this, they hold that. But when you open their file at neck, you'll find that it is COSAT. That's the rating they put there. Some even put affidavits. But out there in the public, that's what they are telling you. And when you are saying they did this, they are claiming fake certificate and all that, they will ignore you. The reason Nnaji may get into trouble in this particular case is that possibly he fired that degree which is questionable. I mean the degree that is questionable. He fired it. If he had fired COSAT, he would have just been looking at you. You can be saying whatever you want to
You're
say.
saying things that the minister probably should have done, and you're giving what many would describe as great advice. Would you say that the minister was advised poorly at the time that he filed those certificates that have now been alleged to be forged?
I want to say that he wasn't properly guided, and then I also think he isn't really a thoroughly baked politician.
What do you mean by thoroughly baked politician?
You remember, or maybe that is his nature. You remember this is a guy who got senatorial seat in 1999, but he ceded it for Jim Obodo. Typical politician will not do that. Typical politician is usually selfish, right? He thinks about the money he will make, the people around him, the hunger on, his image, his ego. But this is a guy, he got it and he ceded it to Jim Obodo. Very quietly, and everywhere was quiet. People thought he was a fool, right? So his kind of politics may surprise certain persons, particularly core politicians, but that has always been his nature. I mean, his political nature. I don't know him personally. I don't know his business dealings. I don't know how he does things, but I know that his politics doesn't look to me like a do or die thing.
Some people have said that the strategy of the minister, unlike other candidates, perhaps if you take it back to the 2023 gubernatorial election, is one of trying to find faults in people as opposed to amplifying his own campaign. Some are still asking where the manifesto is. But there are many reports, many statements seeing him as opposition challenging other political parties or perhaps even the governor, right? So some people have said things like, could that be the kind of politics he believed in? I would like to know your assessment of the possible character of the minister based on your assertion. You talked about ceding a seat to Jim Wobodo. That paints a picture of gullibility. That's the inference I draw from that. But I would like you to speak. What do you think is the character? And secondly, what do you think is his political strategy in dealing with issues? Just speculative.
Okay, his political character. I have just told you that I think that his political character is such that if I can't get it, let me have my peace. I move on, just the way he did in the case of Jim Wobodo, giving Jim Wobodo his seat, right? Then his strategy, the truth is that his strategy has not evolved because he's not really actually in politics. He's a rich guy, and that is the only thing that I can say has been moving him in politics. He's not a grassroots person. He may be grassroots in his locality, but he's not such a grassroots person in the state or national that you will use that to assess him. But he is generally seen as a simple, malleable guy. I won't use the word gullible. No, I do not think he's gullible. I think he thinks that certain things people care themselves about are not actually worth it.
And that paints a picture of a simple man, right?
Yeah. The little I have seen him, I have met him one-on-one several times, but that does not mean I know him very well. The little I know about him is a very, very simple person.
He tagged one of the reasons to his, not just his resignation, but as a response to the allegations as political desperation and political blackmail, generally blackmail. So is it a case of glass houses don't throw stones? And to break down that question, do you think that he believes that he isn't politically desperate, and as a result, he can see others who he thinks are being politically desperate, as he accused the Enugu State Government?
Let us get one thing right. That thing we have to get right is this. He created the problem. The issue, you know that 2 days ago, I told you so many things are not supposed to be mentioned. And I didn't want to talk about the one in court.
Right.
The issue of his certificate above school cert, to me, looks like a personal error. He shouldn't have brought it in. It's just ego. That is why some people want to be called doctor, people call themselves professor, when you don't have the qualification. Because Nigerians are so highfalutin in their ego, they want to carry all the titles. Somebody will answer chief, doctor, sir, professor, right? That they now add high chief,
Instead of
doctor, sir, professor.
Instead of just answering also. Okay, so let's ask this question now. Some of the minister's loyalists say that the ministerial position has nothing to do with the Enugu government house ambition. What are your thoughts? That his ministerial position has nothing to do with the Enugu State Government house, and by implication, that means the situation at the ministerial level has nothing to do with his campaign. Possible running for election in 2027.
No, they are getting it wrong. You have a minister who is opposed to the governor of the state. A minister has resources. He has political power. He has administrative power. He has official police and SSS following him. He's not even a person you can stop from holding a meeting. He's not a person you can stop on the road. So any minister is a threat to the governor. Any minister in the state who is opposed to that governor is a threat to the governor. They cannot say it is not about Enugu politics.
And for his resignation, the circumstances that led to that have nothing to do with the quest to earn a seat at the State House come 2027.
Yeah. In case people think in error that quitting will now see his governorship ambition. It is wrong. This cannot influence his final decision to contest as a governor. But it may affect him seriously. Because as an ordinary citizen, there are certain meetings, which is not the ideal anywhere if we have a true democracy. There are certain meetings he cannot call. He can be prevented by the state government. There are meetings he will call and people will not attend because those people will be scared. If you go there, they film you and they show the governor can use any of the agencies to go after you. I'm not saying the present governor does that, but it is a kind of a scenario that I'm using to point out that the minister who is holding position is in a better position than an individual who is aspiring to the same position. The minister who is holding the position is substantive. He can come home anytime, call a meeting, and people will attend. And people will know that they were also going to a man's house. That house the governor cannot invade. That place, the policemen who are there are not going to be on illegal duty. The SSS men there are not going to be on illegal duty. They are working with the minister. So you are protected, which is not the same thing with an individual calling you, no matter how rich. Then you go there. The police there, the commissioner may be told by the governor, don't release policeman to him.
Right.
Don't release SSS men to him. At the end of the day, you find that you may not be protected. So to protect yourself, you stay away, you keep away.
Okay, so no matter how the nation sees this case, if you look at the dailies, you see that this case is being seen from a national perspective. But for those of us down east, and of course in Enugu State, we would see this from the perspective, a unique perspective of Enugu as a state. Has this affected his position in Enugu State? And when I say position, I mean his standing, perhaps the clout, if I can break it down that way, that
Yes.
he occupied.
Yes, it has seriously affected his clout. You see, since that thing happened yesterday, I know many people now who are sick, in quote. They are like fish out of water. They depended on him too much. They defended him too much. They pushed themselves up front too much. And they now see themselves as being bare, being exposed in such a way that if the government comes after them, there will be no protection. Right? So it has affected him seriously.
Now, away from Enugu, let's also look at the unique national lens, the unique perspective. This was a man from the southeast, a man from Enugu, Nkano, right?
Yeah.
How do you think this circumstance, this alleged certificate forgery, has affected the perception of all of us as Ndibo? Away from the borderline conversations that we see, this seeming scandal, this purported forgery is coming from one of us. An Igbo
Don't
man.
worry about that. It has happened around. Salisu Buhari from the north was the Speaker of the House of Reps in 1999. And because of a Toronto certificate, he left the seat, right? Better I do in the Southwest, had the same situation and resigned as Minister of Finance. So that happening to Uche Nnaji from Enugu State, it detracts nothing. Me, I hold my own qualifications and I can proudly say this is where I'm coming from. You can do your own. If you have a criminal in your community, that is not the reason to say that everybody in that community is a criminal. I'm not saying that the former minister is a criminal. And I'm trying to tell you that it doesn't mean anything about the credibility of the Igbo man. It doesn't remove a thing from who the Igbo man had been at any point.
Right. There are fresh speculations which we have to talk about. Now, unconfirmed and unverified reports are suggesting that former Governor Sullivan Chime may be considered to replace the minister, that his name might be submitted as a tip-off to the presidency. Those are fresh, unverified reports, but they're somewhere in the airwaves. How would you react to the possibility of this happening?
Well, if Sullivan Chime is a member of the party, APC.
He did defect to APC in March 2017.
Yeah, I know. If he's a member of APC, and if he's reckoned with and properly recommended, he may become the minister. But if we go by Obasanjo's executive order, when you remove a person from an office, you pick his replacement from his own locality, right? So, I don't know whether this government is following that, but every other person is possible. Every other person who has good recommendation, who is known to Mr. President, can take up the position. It's not a big deal.
Do you think that if this claim proves true, that he would make a good minister of
Sullivan
science?
Chime?
Right.
I don't know. I must be honest with you. I don't know. And I want to be excused. Yeah.
You want to be excused from the program or from the question? Okay, from the
that particular question.
Okay, I mean, it's been a full show, quite deep as always with you. So that's why we keep on inviting you. It's quite fantastic your input on the program. So let's look at another latest development.
Okay.
Now, sources again, these same unverified sources are saying that the Enugu State Governor, his defection to the APC is imminent. In fact, these claims are so specific that they say this could happen as soon as tomorrow, and that's Thursday, that this is going to be made official, his defection to the APC. These are what sources are saying. What's your appreciation of this? Is it a good call? Is it worth it? And how do we connect everything that's happened in recent times? Some would say it's impossible to discuss Minister Uche Nnaji away from the story of the possible defection.
Okay. I'll start from that last. It is not possible to discuss Uche Nnaji separately. They are the same. And the speculation about Governor Mba moving over to APC is going to happen. It is certainly going to happen. Because, there's something you have to understand. Peter Mba, that's PDP in Enugu State, had for a long time been trying to get into APC. But it wasn't smooth. Now, as it has happened, you have to look at the scenario properly. The governor of Enugu State or the government of Enugu State moving over to APC, what does it add? Mr. President is facing serious challenge from the north. You look at the political configuration in Nigeria. From the north, you have Atiku, who is very strong. You have El-Rufai, who is angling to work with P2P. And then you have Jonathan, who has a good base in South-South and Southeast. Tinubu's proper base is Southwest. Southwest without Northwest, Northeast cannot produce a president. The claims or allegations of the core North, that's Northwest, Northeast, or let me say Northern political leadership, has been that Tinubu betrayed them and that they are going to punish him for that, right? With such a threat, the president will sacrifice anybody. He wants a hold of Southeast added with Southwest. He wants a hold of South-South added with Southwest, Southeast. And he is angling for parts of Middle Belt and parts of the Northeast, Northwest. And that is going to give him the victory he's aiming at. So, When these are the computations, you now understand why the president was likely acceding to Mba's terms, remove Uche Nnaji. And though Uche Nnaji had been his man, an ally, he could be expended with. He could be given something else. But leave the man who has state leverage. The leverage of a state governor is huge. There's nothing close to it in political terms. Because he controls the security, he has huge money, he has everything. So if he deploys it in favor of the president can go and sleep in that particular state. You see, 2023 was a great lesson to every Nigerian politician that their permutations, their calculations, their manipulations were going to be nothing in proper electioneering where you have proper voting and counting. Because of the input of beavers, many people got elected to become senators, to become House of Reps members, to become state assembly members, to become governors. After that election, Senator Baribe said, what a narrow escape. He narrowly escaped it. And it was like that for most of the governors. So, should anything happen, and it becomes a matter of using the beavers, you can see that 90% of the political leadership in Nigeria will be swept off.
Right.
As was going to be the case in 2023. But eventually, because Buhari chickened out. You know, Buhari chickened out. Because he was going to use beavers all through. But they chickened out, altered the law, and said, where beavers doesn't work, let's have an option. Meanwhile, the makers of beavers said, nothing stops beavers. Nothing can stop it. It will work. It doesn't need network. It doesn't need electricity.
The problem with the 2023 election, lots of pundits say, goes back entirely to the electoral laws. But then my first question, is it a good call defecting to the All Progressives Congress?
You see, if it is going to be elections as they were prior or pre-2023, that is the best bet for the governor. Because the president has the muscle who controls INEC and controls the court, controls the election.
What are the risks? What are the risks? Because some people might see it as, some people are apprehensive around that defection. They see it as some kind of trap. Maybe they're trying to set some kind of trap. And politics, as you know, is not a game of trust, but a game of interest.
Yes, trap against who?
A trap, you know, probably, they have their own position on that. Get the governor to get into the APC, and then maybe they have someone else fill up the gap in PDP. That's even another conversation entirely. Yes. What would happen if the governor defects to the All Progressives Congress? Some kind of black stallion is going to have to take over the PDP, right? It's not going to stay a dormant party, or is it already dead?
Let me tell you this. You know, the process of pauperization of Nigerians, making them poor, was when it was started and crystallized, was when they rigged every election, every objective, every criteria of entry everywhere in Nigeria, right? In the absence of beavers, the best bet for a sitting governor is to ally with Mr. President. Let me tell you, who is it? Who has the muscle to challenge a governor in a state? Where is the money? Do you know what it takes to host 1,000 persons? You host 1,000 persons, you give them food, each person will take at least one bottle of beer or two, and then will go home with 2,000 naira. How many people can do that? So when they say weaponization of poverty, people don't understand it. Poverty is weaponized, it's been made a weapon to club the people down And that is what is going on. Who can fund a rally of 10,000 persons in a state where every person who attends that rally will go home with 1,000?
Then what kind of politics are we practicing in Nigeria? Because as it stands, Enugu has no opposition.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Even if the governor moves to the APC, if momentarily there is no opposition.
Exactly.
So you're saying that if a candidate emerges on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, now the slot will be vacant. You're saying that candidate may not have a chance, no matter what, because of resources.
I don't even see the chance of such a person. You see, the person who will have a chance, because we have already established political or electioneering trade wind in Nigeria. The person who has a chance is the person who is going to ally with P2B. It is P2B. P2B is the decimal in the southeast, south-south.
How does that connect?
Middle
How
belt.
does the alignment connect to this our narrative? How does it connect? If who aligns with P2B?
He who aligns with P2B,
On what platform?
whether it is Labour Party or whatever party, P2B, because of what he has said, because of the examples he has shown, because of people's perception of him, people perceive him as the person who has shown capacity to govern Nigeria.
But then you said something on the state level that anyone who dares to challenge the governor in the election would have a lot of resource challenges to contend with.
Yes.
Now, equating that to the national level, the presidency, Peter Obi is also coming and contesting against a sitting president. Does the argument not negate itself?
No, it doesn't. You see, because you are placing them together, there is the actual people power. That is, actual people power was what Labour Party had in 2023. It wasn't money. And even that money, those small people you were seeing were able to get the money together. Those young persons were able to get the money together. In Nigeria, the electorate have been taken for granted for too long. They are angry. So if they see the person who has shown a veneer of the kind of leadership they want, they go with the person. They have had people promising them, taking some people to Dubai, making a few wealthy and the rest of them. They are no longer satisfied with it. That's why I'm telling you that any person who enters the kind of P2B boat we had in 2023 is going to be a challenge to whoever is the governor because of the P2B tidal wave.
Right. Speculatively speaking, back to Enugu, because that's why we're here, right?
Okay.
Who do you see emerging to take over PDP if and when the governor does defect? Who do you see of all of the people, the stakeholders, the PDP members, card-carrying members, who do you see emerging, speculatively speaking, from your knowledge of Enugu politics?
I must be honest with you. I'm not sure if you calculate the power of PDP at the moment in Enugu State, and you rate it to be 90. If Peter Mba lives with his entourage, that power will be reduced to 7.
7?
Yes.
That's a specific figure. Why 7?
Because no other person will be left. Who is going to say he is PDP now in Enugu State? Who among them, or who is going to be able to call a meeting and book a hotel book a venue where they are paying 500,000?
I mean, they say the magic is in the follow-up. Uche Nnaji is still an APC member.
I agree.
If the governor defects to the All Progressives Congress, would Uche Nnaji remain in the All Progressives Congress? And what influence would he occupy? Because he's still there, right?
Yeah,
Is he going to leave the party for the governor?
He may. He may. If he feels slighted, if he actually thinks he was a sacrificial lamb, he may leave.
Leave to
He may
where?
leave to his house, or he may go to another political party.
And
right?
what political party would that be?
I don't know, because I have told you his own personal political coloration makes it difficult to suggest where he's likely to enter.
What if Now, this is just a random question, right? And it just popped up. What if he starts being wooed to join the People's Democratic Party?
Well, I'm even wondering who is going to be in the PDP to woo him.
The
If Peter Mba leaves,
7% of the influence.
If-
There will be some people that could woo him.
who is that? If Peter Mba leaves, he's living with the state chairman and state executive. He's living with the stakeholders. So who is that person who is going to...
It gives Uche Nnaji a blank slate. It gives the chief a blank slate.
Can he restart it?
He already has some kind of, publicity is publicity, whether good or bad, right? Somehow this has been bad publicity, but it's still publicity.
Yeah.
So he could still find a way to carry his cross, clear his name, and rebuild the party from the grassroots. Don't you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I would, if I were to be his advisor, I would ask him to remain in PDP, in APC, right?
In what capacity?
It doesn't matter, as a member, just as a member, right? As a member. You know, you see, Nigerian politicians are very selfish. They are not idealistic. They are looking at their participation from that point of view of personal gain.
Right.
What is he going to go into PDP for? To start from the scratch. You need money to set up a state executive. You need money to set up local government executive. You need money to set up ward executive. And you'll be funding it. There are 10 meetings, you host them, you spend money. To what effect? And before you know it, all those members of House of State Assembly, they will all enter the place with the governor.
It's great you spoke about to what effect, because ultimately we'll wrap up the show with my final question. What would be the effect of the possibility of Enugu turning into an APC state? How would that influence you and I and our viewers?
I'm going to tell you this. You know, APC is not a popular party in the Southeast, right? It is a party people go to grab power. It is not a party seen by the average Southeasterner and even South-Southerner as sort representing the interest of the people, right? So it is going to be the kind of situation you have in Imo, nothing different, where the government is APC, but the people are at best ambivalent.
Would that change the trajectory of the state? Some people have argued that it's not about the party, but about the person who is with that ticket. Do you see a change in the trajectory of development?
No. I've told you that the horizon, the environment is changing. 2023 was a loud statement. That you have APC in Imo State did not stop Peter Obi from taking over that state. And it is going to be the same everywhere in the Southeast in the next election. You understand?
Right.
But the official position, that is where you have the official statement from police and DSS, INEC, will be in favor of APC. But then the truth, the reality on the ground would be against APC.
Thank you so much also for joining the program today. I almost said for joining APC today, but let me not, sometimes you say so many interesting things that it's easy to get lost in thought. You start thinking as an interviewer. I had one more question in my head and then somehow it fizzled away as I paid attention to your initial remark. But that's why I keep on inviting you. Thank you so much also for joining.
Thank you very much.
You deserve all our flowers. On behalf of the entire production team of Enugu Kwenu here at Afia TV, the guys in the control room, and the guys behind this camera who are keeping the show going and making sure the camera does not flicker. This is saying thank you so much and do have a pleasurable evening. I've been your host as always, Nathalie Uku. Catch us again, same time, same channel next Wednesday. And bye for now.